Hello.
Hello, what's up?
Hold on. I'm checking all my little things here.
No, don't worry, don't worry. I'm so
Hey,
nervous. I'm just dying.
why are you nervous?
I've been like all day being
Hey.
like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I've been all day. I've been like, "Oh, it's today, it's today, it's today."
Oh man. Well, I mean, the thing is, I'm hoping I will try to tell you as much as I can tell you if you have questions. I don't know how much I can tell you,
Oh, don't
but
worry. I have like my questions are mainly like behind the scenes stuff because I'm really
cool.
interested in like the process.
Yeah.
So first of all, introduce yourself.
I'm Jeremy Adams. I'm a mostly animation writer that's written a lot of Lego projects, a lot of Warner Brothers projects. Most recently, Batman: Soul of the Dragon just came out that I wrote for the illustrious Bruce Timm, and I am also the head writer, the writer on Monkey Kid season 1 and 2, and the story editor and co-producer on that, and yeah, I'm writing comics now too. So I'm
Yes,
starting
I saw you're Golden Beetle, right?
Gold Beetle. Yeah, I was able to create Gold Beetle, which was really fun to do, and character Black Racer, and I've always wanted to do comics all my life. So it was that's been a thrill, and now I take over writing the Flash this month.
The
So
Future State.
no, just the regular Flash
Oh,
book.
okay.
So,
So pumped.
I didn't do the Flash Future State. I did Black Adam Future State and the Suicide Squad book, and now I'm taking over the Flash book, just period.
I haven't
So
read Future State, but I'm very interested.
it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah.
It's all what ifs type things. So that's all. Tell me about you.
I am 18. I'm 19 in a week.
Oh, cool. Happy
I look
birthday.
younger. I've always been told that. I look, I
Yeah,
have a baby face. And I don't know. I started YouTube because I was bored in
yeah.
quarantine, and I started watching Monkey Kid, and I fell in love with it because it brought me back to my childhood. I remember just
Yeah,
waking up and watching Saturday morning cartoons.
yeah,
New story. You don't know what's coming up. It's always
yeah.
interesting, and it's just I fell in love with it. I even have
Oh, it's
MK
great.
right here. Take
Oh,
me.
nice.
I have MK on his jet,
Oh, that's great.
and
I have a giant. I have a giant mech they sent me that I put together.
I built also this because it's smaller.
Oh, May! Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have a couple myself. I have a giant. I have one of the. I have the monkey mech, which took me a long time. My kids loved, and my kids have the Pigsy like
Yeah, the truck.
cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know the truck is amazing. No, that was the first. That was one of the first things. We can. I don't know if we're start. Have we started? Are we starting?
Yeah, we can do this. It's fun. I just want to
So
talk.
yeah. So when I first saw the first toys, I should start. I'll just tell you like how I got involved. Um, the first thing I did for Lego was a Lego stop motion animation Scooby Doo thing. You can find them online. They're really cool. They were animated by Stupid Buddy Pictures, the guys who do Robot Chicken,
Oh,
and so
okay.
they're like these really small like Lego Scooby characters, and it's stop motion. They're really fun, and that was kind of my first touchstone with Lego. And then they had me to do superhero girls, Lego superhero girl, DC superhero girls. I did a movie, and I think through there, I did the movie because I like I, I have two daughters, which is great. So these DC superhero girls, it was really fun, and also I'm a really fast writer, so that's kind of why they picked me. And so I think they liked how I did, and I did another one, and then suddenly I started making friends over at Lego, and they're a great bunch of people, and I started going to their office, and I started doing more. So I did. I kind of took over the DC Lego movies with the. I co-wrote the Lego Flash movie, and then the Lego Aquaman movie, and then the Lego Shazam, and then another little Lego Batman that's a totally different universe than the movie ones.
Yeah, yeah. And I've seen them. Actually, I grew up watching the DC films.
Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so then I've gotten ensconced in Lego, and they asked me to pitch on something because they're like, Jeremy, you're weird and you have crazy ideas. Would you pitch on this thing? And they didn't give me much. And I was like, yeah, do this, and it's nuts, and this, and crazy. And they're like, yeah, okay, you're going to be the guy. and then Simon Lucas,
Yeah, I know
who
who you are. I know. Yeah,
okay,
of
you know
course.
Simon. So Simon, in his British charm, came in and he started showing me all the toys, and Pigsy's food truck to me is like that's what got me. That's what like stuck in my head because it was like it's a pig. He's a pig, and the truck's shooting sausages. I'm like, this is insane. And as I started diving into the journey to the West and trying to figure out, well, what would this story be? What would it look like? And it's been through a couple iterations because originally I wanted to make DBK, the notorious DBK. I wanted him to be this kind of like, consumeristic Kim Kardashian character, and it was really funny. So all that being said, I started collecting all these ideas, and there's a documentary out there.
Yeah, that's how I knew who you were because I saw
Oh,
that.
okay,
I saw that like 2 weeks
yeah,
ago, and
it's so funny because they sent me over there, and they were just like, "Hey, we just want you to go, pitch it to the Chinese team or whatever." Oh yeah, and you're going to be a part of a documentary. I was like, okay, and then suddenly, I mean, the amount of stuff they cut out too is amazing. But I had some remarkable experiences, and I got to go to Shanghai Disney, which was just like,
yeah,
wow.
that's pretty
Uh,
good.
See that Tron
The Tron's like,
ride?
yeah, the Tron's like,
Oh,
oh,
and the Pirates of the Caribbean is the greatest ride I've ever been on there. It was unbelievable. So, anyways, I went there and I got to pitch, and it was a hard process because it's not my first language. There are like different cultural like just tastes, and I'm very sarcastic and I'm very silly, and sometimes that comes across and sometimes it doesn't come across. Luckily for me, basically I started writing all these scripts, and the process would be like, I mean, they're short. I wish they were 20 minutes. I wish they were 20 minutes. I wish I had a little longer
oh, so
per.
they gave you the like 11-minute format.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
which is
that.
really, really, really fast. And so then basically what happened was I would write a script. We would hand it over to, the producers would give me notes. Flying Bark would give me notes. And then I'd go back and I'd take the notes I like and ignore the notes I didn't. And then I would like put it back together, and then it would go to Flying Bark. And then we brought in this guy named Villids who is,
See the showrunner, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's the one who oversees all the animation mechanics and stuff. And so Village will get on the call and be like, "Hey, what about this?" And so him and I have really become partners in this process. And yeah, but I especially the first season, I just wrote everything and sent it through the machine. And luckily, Flying Bark is really good at their job, and
I mean,
and
their
every
animation is
it's crazy.
incredible.
It's so kinetic and fast. That's why I wish I had 20 minutes because I feel like I could explore the characters more and
Actually, like something people always tell me about Monkey Kid is they feel it's too fast paced. Like it's
yeah,
just like they're just getting into it and it's already over.
it's already over. I know. I know. And then that's what's funny because it's like and it's killing me because it hasn't been announced yet in America in terms of like where it would be. And that's the thing that drives me nuts. Like in China, there's hundreds of millions of people that have seen this thing, and nobody here has,
Actually,
except
I
for
had a
people
question
that
about
have seen it
that.
online.
Is Monkey Kid coming to the United States or America in general?
That is the plan.
So,
That is
so
the
it like
plan.
it is planned, but like, do you know
Yeah.
why it wasn't originally planned? Was it because of COVID or something?
No, no. Originally it's just a thing that we wanted to gear toward the Chinese audience, in the Chinese market, so that Lego's fairly new to China, and they started creating like Lego stores and getting people invested in that. And what better way than to create something that is kind of ensconced in their culture as much as it is. And we have all these cool, Chinese, like Xiaodong and different people, these consultants that help kind of keep us on the straight and narrow. But the thing is, one of the advantages of doing this in a world that's like in the future is we're not stepping on too many toes because it's so fanciful and it's so, you know, uh, not part of, any particular thing. I want to make sure I'm on airplane mode so nobody calls me. It's like it's great to be. It gives us a little freedom to also do the analogous of like Pigsy and Sandy and all those characters. And then the second season, we knew about the second season pretty quick. And at that time, I was working on another thing, and so I ended up just uh, basically I was a story editor and producer, and I wrote a couple of the episodes and special, but then I was able to hire a bunch of really great animation writers that I know out here to come in and write some episodes, and they're so, I mean, they might even be more zany. They're so crazy.
I can't wait to see
Uh,
it.
it's really great. And I hope that we do Monkey Kid for like 12 years, man. I mean, I feel like I have an inexhaustible supply of ideas for Monkey Kid. I love the character. I love the design. It's one of those weird things where so many of my ideas get in, and then so many of Flying Bark's ideas get in. It's such a weird alchemy between so many different people that come out to this kind of just bananas show. I mean, it is bananas. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like I've never seen anything like it. Um, it's fast paced. It's exciting. It's silly, and it's like you said. It's that Saturday morning vibe.
What I
And
always tell people is that it's a feel good show. You don't need to.
right,
It's not very serious.
right.
You can just put it on and enjoy it. And
Yes,
that's what
that's
I
right.
like about it.
That's right. It is. It is. Yeah. It's not. I don't like serious anyways. So you know. And there's so much. It's also there's so much cool mythology there, and there's so many pieces to that story and characters and stuff that can be explored. So I hope they give us more opportunity to do that.
Actually, like, what is the process of adapting what's in the books and then bringing it on to the show? Because there's a couple of characters that people like they're not in the sets, so people think they were just creations for the show, like Macaque and Whitebone Spirit. Like,
Yeah.
were those characters like your ideas or like?
No, I mean that's the thing. It's like the macaque is a character in
But was it your idea to bring it to the show though?
Oh, no, no. Some of the times what happened is we'll pitch a bunch of things or we'll go through and like, hey, what are the biggest cultural touchstones of Journey to the West that we really need to hit? Or Simon will go, I came up with this toy based on this thing. And we'll be like, oh, okay, great. That gives us, a tangent to go. It's almost like an improv class, where you're like, all right, I need a location and I need a character, and then I got the toys, and then I get to come up with the stories. So what's really good about all of that is a lot of the stories. I'll pitch a bunch of stories, and some of them get knocked down, some of them won't get knocked down. We'll go, hey, I know for me what had happened was I went through Journey to the West and I looked at a bunch of different resources, and I was like, okay, I know this character is big. I know this character is big. This is a great villain. Oh, this guy's scary. Look at this magic item, and I'll list those things. And then Robert Fuchs, who's a producer, Village Simon, we'll get together and we'll start going like, where do we want this? What do we want this to do? Or can we put this in here? And our Chinese consultants be like, yeah, yeah, we really like this character. We like the Spider Queen. Okay, great. Simon, though, has a huge impact because he's doing all the toys. So he'll start like looking at themes and what could be the next season of toys.
Yeah, that's a question. Like most people always tell me, like, are the shows like is the show written first and then the toys come after, or are the toys first and then, or how does that work?
So I'm trying to remember because there's a little bit of like a collaboration. The first bit was Simon coming up with these vehicles and different toys, and then giving to me like, okay, now what's the story? And he's pretty creative though. Him and his team's pretty creative. So they'll sometimes have like, oh, maybe it should be this or maybe it should be this. So it's a great jumping off point. But I'm not held to it. So I'll come up with my own story on what I think it should happen. And sometimes it's a play off of what they've done. Sometimes it's not. But Simon's usually the starting point for a lot of these things, Simon and his team. And then of course, because of course Simon has to get that through marketing and a bunch of other things over at Lego before I'm okay to, yeah, okay, we're gonna do Demon Bull King, so run with that. And it's like, okay, and Red Sun, okay, great, okay, I'm gonna do this. And then I'll kind of come up with motivations and, characterizations, like Sandy being a soft-hearted guy, that drinks tea and loves
That's
cats.
a lot of people love that. Like,
Yeah, and that's just because I like to do kind of the opposite of what you think half the time. So that was really fun. May being a motor mouth that just like is super fast paced and excited. Those are certain things that like those are my influence into the thing. And then it changes again because then you get the animation back and you're like, oh, look at what they did. They either plus this or they took out that, and it changes maybe a little bit of the story or a little bit of the dynamic. And then the voice artists obviously add a whole other level of the way you think about a character.
because
And
they have the
so,
personality.
yeah. So then you take that and you're like, okay, now I'm going to do the next season with all that. Now I have even more information, and we've set up little bits like Pigsy having the world's longest noodle,
I
Like
I,
what does
didn't-
that,
I hadn't noticed that.
yeah, and it's like, well, what does that mean? Like he's a cook. What is that? What is that? What is that? What kind of story can we tell there? What kind of story can we tell with these other villains? And then just start telling the stories. And because they're like, it's not supposed to be super serialized, though. I feel like the longer a show gets, the more serialized it's going to get. But initially, the corporate mandate was you should be able to watch an episode and not worry about where you are.
It
And
feels like season one feels that way.
yeah, yeah, it's very much that way. Now, I feel like it's increasingly becoming more serialized, but that makes sense to me. That's like the more you're invested with the show, you're going to kind of want, and it's something that's steeped in mythology and genre. It's like you're going to want to dig a little deeper, and I think we start doing that really well.
Even
So
though some of the things season one set up, they're like it's looking like it's gonna pay off in season two. Like Spider Queen, she was set up in season one.
yeah,
Now she's the main villain in season two.
yeah, yeah,
She is,
maybe.
or what?
I don't know. We'll
Oh,
see.
you can't talk. You can't talk. Oh
Yeah,
man.
I guess you'll see, won't you?
Okay. Like when I told a couple of people I was talking to you, and they always ask me like, "Is McCack coming back?" Like, ask him, "Is McCack coming back?" And I was like, I'm not sure he can tell me that. So, is McCack coming back?
I can't tell you that.
Yeah, I can tell you
I
that.
I will tell you that uh, you're not the only one that hopes Macaque comes back, and I think he really popped in a way that it was surprising for me too.
He is
Um,
the fan favorite villain of season one. He's
yeah,
like hands down. He's the favorite villain.
yeah, I think that I think you're right, and I think if something like that happens, then I think everybody hears about it too. So I mean, the cool thing about the macaque is too, it's like the voice acting, the way it's animated. Flying Bark has this ability to do this kind of like amazing. It's like if you're watching Naruto or something, and Rock Lee drops his weights, and you're like, "Uh-oh," yeah, it's gonna be this, this kind of Dragon Ball. And Sarah, who is the director for most of those things, she had said in China, and I guess I didn't believe her as much as she ended up being right, or like doing it. She's like, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna do this, Dragon Ball Z like crazy," and I'm like, "Okay, like, slow your roll," and then and then I get the animation back and I'm like, this is bananas. Like,
Yeah.
again, I wish I had 20 minutes per episode because I feel like I could get so much more out of it. Not in terms of animation, but in terms of just like character stuff.
So, what was your favorite episode to write? Like, just one like you remember or an idea you had that it wasn't rejected.
Uh, man, well, I'm only going to talk about the first
Yeah, yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah. I want to get you in trouble.
um, I like that, MK is starting to, learn about his powers and stuff. I think my favorite is when he starts multiplying himself.
Okay,
Uh,
duplication.
that to me cracks me up. The DJ guy, like
The obsessed painter.
yes, yes, like all that, the versions of that. I'm surprised we were able to cram that all into one episode. I think that's really really fun. I like the macaque one, but I really like I'm more on the silly side. I'm trying to think. It feels like it's so long ago since I did
When
season
did you
one.
write it though? Like 2019, right?
Uh, I mean, maybe in 2018, maybe.
Wow. I thought it was wow. That's
Wait,
pretty
what
long
year?
ago.
What year is it? It's
2021.
2021.
2021.
So no, it's let's see. Let me think. 2021, 2020. No, it had to be 2019. Yeah, it had to be 2019. Yeah, yeah. Let's say 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, 2019. All those were finished and sent off. And I'm trying to think of the other ones that. Oh, I really like the sleepover at Maze. I think
Oh,
that's really
episode three.
great
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
That's one of my favorite episodes.
yeah,
What I liked about that episode is May is a strong female character. She doesn't need
yeah,
MK. She
yes.
is capable, and I just love that.
Yeah, and I also like kind of like exploring that lineage a little bit. And here's this sword, and while that's going on, I love the
Yeah,
fact that
the dragon sword.
yeah, and I love the fact that like again, we're flipping tropes. It's like your parents are proud of you. You inherit you're embracing your heritage and not being afraid of it. Because the idea, in a way, is like I think that's why May hangs out with MK and stuff. I think she's bored up in the clouds a little bit and living the high life. And it's like, hey, I want to be down where the action is, and that's kind of what May is. She's fast paced and helping out, and I love all the characters. I think Pigsy, just I love Sandy. I love. I like the unexpected stuff that happens with even like when you introduce the Spider Queen. It's like, oh, she's at this market, and then it's like, I love all that stuff. I really like the other one I like is I think it was drawn out more in the script, but the gold and silver. Wait,
Ying and Jing. I have them too.
okay, good.
Here they are.
I was like, oh gosh, did I screw that up too?
Here they
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
I
I
love
like
those
that.
characters. Those
Yeah,
are their personalities.
yeah.
Brilliant. I love
That's why
them.
I want more. I want more, so I have more room to play with all these guys more.
I'm with you. If the fans need to like tweet at a Lego something, we can make it happen. Let's make it
Well,
happen.
I just really need. I really want people to, this like a lot of Lego things. It's going to depend on how many people buy the toys, and if it's a feasible. And hopefully it's out in America soon so that you guys can, watch it and more fans can happen and more people buy the toys. And then it's like, oh, we have to keep making this show. I mean, that's the thing about Ninjago, right? It's successful and the toys were great, but the show was great and had legs and it went on for a long time. It's like, I want to do that with
Actually,
MK.
something a lot of people have suggested is, are you open to a Ninjago Monkey Kid crossover?
Oh, I would lose my mind. Those guys over at Ninjago are doing a great job, and it's weird. I see people like trying to gin up some sort of controversy. Like
Yes,
they're
yes. I had a question about this. Like,
yeah,
what are your thoughts on that? Like, well, you're right for DC, so you probably know about the Marvel versus DC things.
yeah.
But I just find it so dumb that people are like, oh, like Monkey Kid's gonna kill Ninjago. Like, no, I'm not gonna buy Monkey Kid. It's like they're the same company. Like, you can
Yeah,
support both.
literally, you couldn't kill Ninjago if you wanted. Um, I I don't get it. I mean, I get it in terms of like when I was younger, maybe I would have a favorite or whatever, but like um, part of working in entertainment period is that you get a lot of criticism for stuff that A, you have no control over, and B, you shouldn't get criticism over. It's that type of stuff like, well, I hate this show because it's 11 minutes, and it's like, okay, like
Uh, sorry, I've said that. Sorry.
no, but I mean, I don't have control over it either. You know what I mean? It's like so people being like, oh, I hate this because I don't really know. I mean, it's a two different thing in terms of Ninjago, and I think what's really great about this show is that it's 2D animation it's not it's pushing the minifig look in a way that makes you go, hey, this isn't Ninjago. Like, we're not stepping on those toes, and they're not stepping on our toes. You don't see anybody going like, oh, friends, Lego friends, they're gonna eat Ninjago. It's like, no, we're not. I think it
Yeah.
would be smart if they did a Ninjago
Yes, no, like
Monkey
my
Kid.
like in my head, it's just like seeing like MK and Ninjago or like the
Right?
ninjas and the MK animation style. That's brilliant. Like
It would
Red
be
Sun
great.
versus Kai. That
Oh,
would be
it'd be
fun.
great. It would be great. It would be
Uh,
great. I love all that stuff. Yeah, no, it's been a thrill. I mean, I think what's really fun as a writer is somebody that's like helped, you know, flesh out and create these things. Is like it's not even it's not out here, you know, and it's like people are responding to it in this like exuberant fashion, which makes me just like, please bring it out, you know.
so it's
And I
not
hope
like it's not your control of that.
no,
Uh,
no. I wish it was. I thought it was supposed to come out last year here. I thought, and then for whatever reason it didn't. So we just got to be a little more patient. Unfortunately for everybody except me, I get to see them. So you
I
know.
mean, I'm doing my part. I'm buying the toys. I
Oh,
went
see,
to a Lego store today, but they're not yet here.
they're
So like,
good
what
man.
about the toys?
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, yeah, I guess they're doing well where they sell. So
I've been
that's
told that. I've been told the Monkey Mech is doing amazing in China.
man, that thing is awesome. It is really awesome.
That's my birthday gift. I'm really gonna spend my
The
money
monkey
on that.
neck.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Monkey
I
Mech. I
love
really
that.
want that.
I love that. And then I don't know if you've seen the stuff, the toys for season two,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I went looking for them today.
yeah, there's some pretty cool ones there too. And
The giant spider.
man, I'm telling you, I mean, Simon and his team, like, that's why I hope people track down that documentary because you get a real look at how they just come up with stuff, and they do such a good job. And you can see like Xiaodong and Simon and all these creators just like, oh, what if we did this? Like, the whole idea between that basically MK has this like hoverboard type thing was just like, oh, it's just like Monkey King with his flying cloud, and speaking of Monkey King, like how rad is he? He's hilarious. I mean, there's
He
that car race, and it's like, Immortal Peaches, where'd they go? And he's pounding them.
he's eating them.
Yeah, yeah. Because the Monkey King, before I started this process, I had heard about him just because I like mythology, but like I hadn't dived into it as much and seen that in China, they've had multiple iterations of Monkey King, and some beloved TV shows, and he was very cheeky and funny, and it's great to see that people kind of like understand, like, oh, this isn't, we're not being irreverent, we're just having fun, like the next generation of that
I
legend.
I love that Monkey Kid it's the next generation. It's not Lego appropriating a
Right.
like a book. It's the next step. It's
Yeah.
it's Monkey King for the new generation, and I love that.
Yeah, and what's great too is like it's gonna open up a world of people to want to seek out those legends and look more at that culture, and it's gonna make a bigger market for just all that stuff. Like when I was very young, and probably before I was born, that happened with like all the mythological Greek stuff. It was always Hercules, and and when I was growing up, I was reading Marvel comics, and it was like, oh, I would read the Thor books, and so then I would go and I would read up on all this Norse mythology because I was like, oh, it just makes you dive deeper,
Well,
which
that's
is
what
really
happened with
cool.
me with the Monkey King. Like when Lego announced Monkey Kid, I was fascinated with the sets, so
Yeah,
I started like looking into Monkey King, and Goku is a big inspiration, like inspired
checking out the
by
Journey to the
Monkey
West.
King.
Yeah, yeah. There's some like really cool, like especially like live action movies and different things they've done in
I saw the
China.
Donnie Jen one. The
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet,
Yeah, it's on Netflix. So I saw
but
it.
I love Donnie Yen, so I'll watch that dude kick anybody in the face like all day long. He rules.
So going back to Wukong,
Yeah, yeah.
there's like this big controversy because I
Okay.
don't know if you're aware about the ships.
Oh,
The
yeah, yeah. Sure, sure. That's
Battle
in.
Peaches is
That's
a
literally in every everything I work in, people have ships, and they're willing to burn yours. So
So there's this Shadow Peaches. It's Monkey King and the Macaque.
okay,
But people argue that Macaque and Wukong are brothers. What are your
interesting.
thoughts? It's true. They're brothers?
I'm
Like,
not saying anything.
you're oh, okay, okay. You're not saying okay, okay.
You know, I, I, hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying anything.
You're okay, okay. Yeah, that's the smart move. That's the smart
Yeah, yeah,
move.
yeah. That's the smart move. But you never know what will get me in trouble or not get me in trouble.
But in general, what are your thoughts on like ships and stuff? Like, do you like them as a writer? Like, do they influence what you're writing, or
They don't influence me as much as maybe they influence other writers. I like to see where people, at some point in my life, I'm going to become powerful enough that I'm going to just destroy people's ships just to see them react. Because it is one of those things. What happens is not all the time, but people have ships, and sometimes they demand that those ships be, they get mad if it doesn't turn out the way that they want it to turn out. And if I listened to that, I wouldn't be telling the stories that I feel like I need to tell. I feel like when I'm writing and when I'm putting together stuff, that it has to come through a very organic and true space. And I can't be I can't be burdened by what other people want, unless it's the people. Now, that being said, I love that people do fanfic. I love people that ship. I'm like, do it. Like, no one's stopping you. It doesn't hurt anybody. I think what's hard though, as a creator, is like, I think people don't understand that when they write about how, oh, I hate this, and how dare this writer, and this show stinks now, and blah 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 blah. It's like, we're out there, we see it, and we have feelings. We care, we want the things we write to be loved by everybody. But what you quickly find out is it doesn't matter what you write. There's going to be a section of people that hate it, and there's going to be a section of people that like it, and then there's going to be a larger section that's like, meh. you know um, so you can't please everybody. All you can do is try to tell the story that you want to tell. And then, and this is even, I had to say this to me because before I was writing animation and doing movies and stuff, I was just a huge fan. I was just a huge fan that would be at Comic-Con or collecting books or whatever. And I would be like, oh, I can't believe they did this to my character, or I can't believe that. And then when you get on the other side of the process, you become more like, I can't believe they make anything. And I can't believe that there's anything that's good, because you have to make a story, and then you have all this different input from different people. You have input from other producers and marketing and toy things and this is it, and you have to like make it all make sense. And then you hope the animation team gets what you're doing, and they're going to do their thing, and you hope it all works together so that, hey, look, and here's a thing that was made by 300 people, and you're like, is it good? If it is, that's a miracle. I think that's one of the things of Monkey Kid. It's like, whatever this is, however this got made, with all the different people throwing in, that's, you've heard that fairy tale of stone soup. It's like everybody just throwing in a little bit of ingredients. Whatever comes out is awesome. So yeah, people shipping. It's like, yeah, go for it. I don't necessarily think. I don't know how much this show will address some of that stuff. Maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, actually, people got really like in a debate when episode one of season two, or the Revenge of the Spider Queen special. Is it episode one or is it a special? Like, just clear that out.
It's a special.
It's a special. So
It's a
it's not
special.
episode one. Okay.
No.
People got mad because of the Red Sun and MK interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people are just like, I don't like this. I want her to be with MK, and even a friend who we call him a May simp. I don't know if you know what that's it, but he's a May simp, and he was like, I don't like this. Like, why is she with Red Sun? I don't like this. Going back to fanfics, I was sent a fanfiction to read on the channel, and I want to discuss this with you. The
Yep.
fanfic basis, it's called Tang.
Okay.
Is Tang, and it's the plot is Tang has secretly evil and he's plotting to take down Wukong. What are your thoughts?
I think that's super clever. I'm going to steal it. No,
You got okay.
I think that's great. That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. That's kind of the Jar Jar Binks
The theory, yeah.
where he's a Sith,
Oh
which
my
I'm
god,
like,
100%.
what? That's amazing. I wish that was true, except that Tang is too hungry all the time to be worried about trying to take anybody down.
So another Tang theory that's very popular is
Yeah.
that Tang is MK's father. Can you confirm that?
No, I'm not going to confirm anything.
Oh my god.
I deny all. I
You
deny
deny
everything.
all. Okay, last
Go
attempt.
ahead. No, I don't know.
Is MK's real name MK?
Yes,
Oh,
for now.
okay. For now. Oh, man. Is there
Terrible.
anything you can tell me about season 2? Is there anything like just a tiny bit?
Um, hmm.
Make paper slow down.
Uh, no, the only thing I can tell you about season two is that because I hired different writers, there's kind of a different voice per episode, and they're like I said, they're really bananas, and uh, no, there's nothing I can tell you.
You can oh, man.
You know, I think up front you're gonna find that there is an overarching bad guy plot, and it's gonna culminate in something that's going to wreck everybody's mind, and and you know, hopefully we get to tell the story from there because if
I'm so
not,
pumped. I'm so pumped.
people are gonna be so mad.
So you're practically telling me it's gonna end in a cliffhanger.
I
It's gonna be
mean,
the end game. It's gonna be the Infinity War
I don't
of
know.
Monkey Kid.
I mean, we'll see.
We'll see.
I think people will go see these Legos. I think that's going to be people's brains. Like,
Uh,
yeah.
so, what are some of your biggest influences when writing Monkey Kid?
um, I'm a Monkey Kid in particular is so lighthearted and fun. I almost write it like very free association, where because it's a future too, everything's just a little sideways. Um, you know, influences wise, that's a good question. I always say one of my biggest influences in everything I write was was a run of comics in the 80s called the Justice League International by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis and Mark or Kevin McGuire, and it was this really silly version of the Justice League. It was fun. It had serious moments, but it had really zany characters, and I love that kind of quippy, fast-paced action and dialogue. And I gravitate more toward that type of writing. Um, in terms of like other fun stuff, I'm just trying to think. Like, I mean, the cartoons I grew up were like action-packed cartoons, like GI Joe and Thundercats, and
I love
stuff like
Thundercats.
that. Yeah, I love that stuff. And now it's like I grew. So I mentored this kid, and he was really into stuff like Top and Gurren Lagann, and
Yeah,
Naruto, and a bunch of anime that
all stuff I grew up with.
yeah, and I would watch it, and like even Pokemon, all that stuff, and I would watch it and get like really pumped by it because there was always this kind of like otherworldly power, thing that would come out, and there was also, especially in Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann really affected me. I think that was just such a um, cool show. So, but yeah, the influences I have are just like I generally have a really peculiar taste in movies and film, and whether it's Terry Gilliam or whatever. And so when I write, I'm always looking for not what's a joke or what's a like a setup punchline. I'm looking for what's the thing that's gonna make me chuckle. Like my one of my favorite movies is Big Trouble in Little China, and it's like this fast paced, and it's quippy and it's very silly, And I like that. I like that MK doesn't really have full control over everything and is kind of wading through this stuff. And I love that May is a motor mouth and that Sandy can Hulk out if you mess with his cat, you know. Those are always little things that just like make me chuckle rather than, oh, that's a joke and now you should laugh. It's like, no, it's just overwhelmingly like giggly, you know. That's so.
It makes it a really good time. Like while you
Oh,
watch
good.
Monkey Kid, it's enjoyable. It's not you're not expecting the punchline and the joke. It's
Right.
just I love Monkey Kid.
Good.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I can ask you this question, but
Uh-oh.
a lot of people ask me this: Is Tang, Pigsy, or Sandy getting bigger roles? Like, are they gonna get more development? Because for the most part, they're considered
Like side
characters with
character.
not really defined roles. Even Sandy, there's a joke in episode 5 that Sandy doesn't have a defined role in the team.
I think that specifically, I think that Pigsy will get a more defined role, and we'll learn a little bit about Pigsy and Sandy a little bit. Um, I don't know how much I can say there. Um, s- uh, there's some.
You know something. You know something.
Yeah, I mean, the further we go along, the further we can kind of explore some of that stuff. It's not really a backstory heavy, but with Pigsy and Sandy in particular, I think that we get into a little bit of that. Like why, and you get it in the first special too, right? It's like I have this friend, you know, and it's like, what happened to you? You were this thing,
This
yeah,
super aggressive
yeah, and now
anger
you've
fuel
got
machine. Anger
yeah,
fuel
now you've
machine is the
got
quote.
therapy cats, you know, and it's like, uh, so I think we get a little more in that, you know, we can only go so far before Lego says, hey, 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 you know, because there was some other stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I think especially Pigsy, I think Pigsy in season 2 has a much more standout, you know, role.
Another thing that you said earlier that I've been thinking about. What are some of your rejected ideas? I'm very
uh,
curious. Or like, can you tell me some like from season 1 rejected ideas?
uh, like I'm loath to mention them because I might want to reuse pieces of them.
Oh, okay.
You know, so yeah, I can't.
You
I mean,
can't.
especially even on season 2, I think I had me and the writers came up with something like 26 ideas, and we could only use half that.
I mean,
So
there's a season 3, right?
I
Oh, you
know,
can't say.
right? I mean that would be fantastic. So we have a bunch of crazy ideas, and that was the first time I ran a room, and it was just
What was it
whatever.
like to just run a writer's room?
It was phenomenal. I mean, people were so excited, and I'm pretty upbeat and excited. And
Yeah.
so to me, it's like, give me your zaniest idea. Like, this is the show that you can throw out the weirdest idea, and we probably have a good shot, you know? And so, and they're professional writers, and they're all like super imaginative and silly. And so it would be like somebody would say, hey, I think, you know, we should be attacked by a giant chicken. And I'd be like, great. What happens when the chicken, you know, lays an egg? And it's like, oh, this happened, you know, and then it's like, you know, there's this one special. Eugene's son wrote this this episode in season 2.
Can you tell me the number? Just
I don't
to
I don't even
look
know
at.
which it is. I think it's like 3 or 4. And he wrote, and it was kind of like a disaster movie thing, and we howled, and that's the fun of being in a writer's room, is like it's just me falling on the floor laughing most of the time, and then like weekly bringing up, writing it down, like that's too funny, and then you know falling down again. That's the glory of being in a writer's room with creative people and being silly.
Yeah, because I always hear like the term like a writer's room, but like writing was one of my career paths. Like
Yeah.
it's something I wanted to pursue, but my dad told me he wouldn't pay for it, so I decided to go the production side because I'm also very much
Yeah.
into like toys. So I
Oh,
decided
cool, cool,
to pursue a toy career.
cool.
But I've always been really interested in just writing. And so, how did you get into writing? That's something like what
I
made
mean,
you want to become a writer?
so when I was a kid, my dad actually drew some comics for DC Comics, so I was always like,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
and
like awesome.
so I saw like I was around it, and like superheroes and all that stuff I was just super attract like I wanted to be involved with that. And then when I started reading, I remember being like reading fantasy novels a great deal. Dragonlance Chronicles was like really this formative book series for me. But I remember in junior high, I had a creative writing class, and I remember writing something that was really really silly. I mean, it was really stupid, and we had to read it in front of our class. And I remember reading it, and I remember everybody laughing, and I remember thinking because I was like the biggest nerd, I got beat up on a daily basis, and so here I wrote this thing, and suddenly everybody's laughing, and uh, I mean, it's the best feeling in the world. And I had teachers that told me like, oh, you're really good, or whatever, and I would be like, oh. So that was kind of the confidence to start writing. So flash forward to writing in high school. I didn't think it was a career path. I started really getting interested in film, and then I went to college and I got a degree in media arts because that was the film degree at this school, and then I moved out to LA, and I slaved away for years and years and years and years and years trying to figure out how to break in, and I was a producer's assistant and director's assistant and worked at Blockbuster and 1,000 different jobs. And my first breakthrough came. I mean, it's kind of a weirdly religious story, but like, my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time, we were at church and they were doing a sermon on the burning bush, and I was like, man, I need a burning bush. Like, I'm getting nowhere in this town. I've been here for, over 10 years trying to
Wow, that
break
long.
in. Oh yeah. And I was like, I need a burning bush, and she's like, you should pray about it, And the next day I get a call from Jim Krieg, and he says, I feel like God wants me to be your mentor, and I want to help you break in, and I need you to do this, this, and this. And so I did, and he put me. Okay, okay, good. Yeah, so I did two of those episodes, and then I was off to the races, and then I started working on the show Monsuno when I was working at Jack Pacific. But like I said, I did two episodes of Green Lantern, and then that was it. I didn't have any other job. I literally proposed to my girlfriend on a like during weekend, and when I got back, the company I was working for, I was working as assistant. Everybody got laid off in 2008. And so I didn't have a job for like the entire time I was engaged. I would have temp jobs at different places. And then I got a job at Jack's Pacific as an assistant. And there I was like, hey, you guys should do this as a cartoon series, and you should do this, and blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly my Green Lanterns finally came out, and they were like, hey, you write cartoons? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you should write for ours. And I'm like, what's yours? And they're like, it's
Yeah,
called
I actually
Monsuno.
I watched Monsuno when it was on
Oh,
Nickelodeon.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 2002, so
Oh, okay.
like I
Yeah.
was around Bakugan, Beyblade,
Okay.
Monsuno, like all those things that
Okay.
came out around that time.
Right.
Like all
Yes.
the TCGs, I was into that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes, that's where I really got like knee deep in the stuff. But then, um, because a lot of these cartoons are based on toy sales, like there was a Friday where I found out my wife was pregnant, and then that Monday the entire department got let go. And so I spent the time, basically I was a stay-at-home dad for like 3.5 years, and I was ghostwriting and not really getting many jobs. And
When you say ghostwriting, what do you
so
mean about that? Like,
it means that somebody would pay me to write a draft of a script that I wouldn't have my name on,
oh wow,
you
are
know,
there like
and
any? Did they go through any of them?
yeah, but
You can't
but
say.
I don't, yeah, no,
Wow.
no, and it's not the most ideal thing in the world. I have to say it taught me a lot about writing. And then finally, what happened was Justice League Action on at I started writing those, and then I think what I tell everybody is Neil Gaiman has a commencement speech where he says you have to be two of these three things. You have to be really good, on time or great to work with, like two of those things. Well, I can never tell if I'm really good. That's something, it's so subjective. Like I've had people go, I hired you because your dialogue's great. And then somebody will go, I hate your dialogue. I hired you because you do good action. And so I can never tell. So that I control the controllables, which is I can be the nicest person. I try to be the nicest person I can be working with people. And then I'm not just on time. I try to be early. I try to make it early. Um, and those two things I think have fared well. Like even if you're really good, but you're a pain in the behind to work with, most people will pick the I'd rather do the nice guy, you know? Um, and that's what I hope is why you give me work is that I hope it's because I'm good too. I just can't tell. So, but then it spiraled. Obviously, I've done Monkey Kid. I did Mortal Kombat last year, and JSA's coming out.
Yeah,
Soul of the Dragon.
I want to talk to you about JSA because I
it's
saw the trailer. That looks really good.
yeah,
That looks.
yeah.
I
I
want to
co-wrote
watch
that with
that
my
film.
friend Megan. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really good. Butch Luchik, who is he's worked on Batman the Animated Series and stuff. He's just kind of a genius level guy, and he's the producer on it. And he has a very distinct way of telling stories, and it's a very epic World War II,
And then we get the Flash,
superhero movie.
and then
Yeah,
we get the.
yep,
No,
yep. It's gonna be good. It comes out soon, so I think.
yeah, in April, right?
I don't know if they've announced the release date, but I'm going to say it's somewhere around there.
Okay, okay.
See,
Now,
that's the other thing about being an animation writer. We are scared to death of getting in trouble for saying too much
okay,
because we write something, it's like 2 years later before anybody sees it, or a year and a half later. So we have to be very careful about not talking about anything before it's supposed to be talked about.
okay. Now I want to ask you, going back to Lego,
Yep.
if you could cross over any character from any franchise ever to Monkey
With
Kid,
Lego?
yeah, like
Oh,
any
with
Lego IP, like any Star Wars, Marvel, who would it be?
into Monkey Kid.
Into Monkey Kid, into that animation style, into the world, into with interacting with the characters.
Okay, outside of Ninjago, because
Yeah, no, no,
I
Ninjago
think
is
Ninjago's the Lego,
that needs to happen. That needs to happen.
right? Ooh, boy, that's tough. Huh.
I'll give you some time. Like that's a hard question.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. There was an old Lego IP where they were like monster hunters. That's the type of thing I would love to do a crossover with. Because I think it's just so weird, and I like that kind of like Van Helsing type, Lego Monster Hunter stuff.
I was 8 when that came out, and I remember I really wanted them to do a show like Ninjago, but
Yeah.
the monster, yeah, but they
Well,
never did.
my friend did all the Nexo nights, and that's interesting. But I like all the old classic. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of the miniatures, so if we played Dungeons and Dragons, we'd play with Lego characters.
I
So
played Dungeons and yeah, with like
yeah. We would too. We would all get the medieval set, and that's what we would play with, or and we'd use all the Legos to kind of like tell us where we are and stuff. Yeah. So there you go. I would do the Monster Hunter one.
What else?
You?
I think I ran out of questions, but I
Oh,
want
that's
to keep
cool.
talking to you.
No, no, it's all good. I mean, we've been doing it for like almost an hour, so
No, you're such a nice guy, man. This has
Oh,
been a
thanks.
pleasure. This is like
Oh man,
this is
thank
probably
you
like
so
the
much.
highlight of my year.
Well,
It really has been amazing.
well, listen. After if it gets, if Monkey Kid gets released in the U.S., then hit me up again, and we'll do it again to kind of like
Yes,
promote it.
for sure. Maybe you can speak more about
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Yeah. No, at that point, hopefully I can.
uh,
Awesome. Well, thank you.
no, thank you. This has been amazing.
Oh, well, happy birthday next week.
Yeah, 13th on the
All
13th.
right. Awesome, man. All
Oh,
right. Thanks again. And, like I said, where I am. So,
you're amazing, dude. Just
oh,
thank you.
oh yeah, absolutely. Keep watching.
I'll keep buying.
Oh, great.
Like
Great.
I
Tell
have
everybody too.
the Roadster
Buy,
here.
buy it all. Oh, that's rad. Buy it all.
This is one of the this is a masterpiece. I
That
love
is.
this thing.
That's super cool.
And you made me want to buy it.
Ah,
The episode, I didn't want the set because I thought it was like it's a bit too
but during the
expensive.
race.
But then I watched that episode and I was like, I need to get this, and I got this for Christmas. I asked for this for Christmas, and I got this because
That's awesome.
this is
That's
beautiful.
awesome. That's great. Well, awesome, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I
All
really,
right.
it's see you.
See you
Have a
later.
nice
Bye.
day.